2010 Prius oil change. Set the emergency brake so it doesn't roll anywhere on us. So on the Gen 3s, you have to undo this access panel. Yep, this is one of those screw ones. The other one was just a press in. The other one was probably more original. It was a press in. But you have to do this now. Come clear back here behind the engine. Just to get to the drain plug and the oil filter. And the drain plug, it's a 14. That is solid. On a Gen 1 and Gen 2, you can do all this from the front of the car, from the front bumper. Let's see how messy this is going to be. In the hand. That's the worst. And that washer went somewhere. Make sure you find that washer. Yeah, that would never happen on a Gen 1 or a Gen 2. Well, it was on the cardboard. So on a Gen 3, 2010 and later, oil is 0.20 and it takes 4.4 quarts. You've got to have this oil filter housing wrench just to get the oil filter off, because it's a cartridge. The oil filter cartridge goes inside the oil filter housing and it screws on. Before, for the same price, you got the metal oil filter, and now you're just getting the cartridge and a little rubber seal. Got our 0.20. So I got my washer out of the oil pan, and now you got to reach in here and take off the oil filter housing, the oil filter cover. What a joke. This used to be so easy on a Gen 1 and a Gen 2. Apparently this is modern technology. So yeah, unlike a Gen 1 and Gen 2, you can't pre-fill this one. So there's the filter. Yep, and then you got to replace this O-ring right here. And I got the washer out of my drain pan. So right here on the lid, it tells you to tighten it to 25 Newton meters. Couldn't find that anywhere in the book. So I looked it up online to do the conversion between Newton meters and foot pounds. You take the Newton meters and divide it by 1.356, which would mean this is about 18.5 foot pounds. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to set our foot pounds to 18.5 or 18, anywhere between 18 and 20 should be good. Got to replace this rubber seal. We'll get that out of the new box and replace that. There's our O-ring. There's the filter number. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of new oil on this, the O-ring. Oddly enough, this tool actually works on a Gen 1 and Gen 2's oil filter. It's the same size as the oil filter housing for the Gen 3s. Mosquitoes. Hello. Gotta get my fan going. And the torque on this is a 28 foot-pounds. We'll get that in a minute. On this, you want to make sure that you screw it in by hand so you don't cross-thread it. You cross-thread this, these things are like $30 just to replace the plastic part of it. I can feel it going into the... Yeah, I'm so close. I'll get my fan out. This is ridiculous. The mosquitoes know I'm here. The mosquitoes can't fly that fast. Oh, that's it right there. Click. So I've changed my wrench to 28 foot-pounds. That's it. Can't believe this thing's got 131,000 miles on it, and nobody's had the chance to cross-thread the oil plug. Now it's time to put the little push pins back in here. In. Flap, 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 flap. So the tools I ended up using, a drain pan. You have to have the tool for the oil filter housing. And this is a 1/2-inch oil filter housing wrench. That's a 14 millimeter that I used on the drain plug. The adapter I had to use because I have a 3/8 torque wrench. So I had to get from 3/8 to the 1/2-inch. Then I had to use a 14 millimeter wrench. Could have just used the socket, I guess. And then something to pop those connectors off. Of course, you need a funnel, unless you want to pour it by hand. Have fun with that. Time to add 4.4 quarts. And obviously, you don't have to take that off, but shiny. Okay, what we're looking for here is when your car is on and it gives you the oil light reset, you have to make sure that you're on trip A in order to make the change. Before you turn the car off, make sure it's on trip A. Now turn the car off. Now press and hold the kilometer button and then press the power button twice, and the oil reset will be activated. But the key to this is making sure it's in trip A. At this point, you can set the trip back to odometer, and your oil light's reset now.